everybody. It's Legal Queen LA, and we're back with the Royalty Room. It is our first official episode, and we are going to get into all of the news. And today marks the first day of mental health awareness. So, we're going to be talking about social media, we're going to be talking about Hollywood, and we're going to be talking about something called the Mind Edit. We're also going to learn how to meditate. I know it's hard, but today we have an expert here, Miss Calais Robinson. She's going to teach us all about the Mind Edit.
Yes, I am, Miss Ashley. The mind edit is something that every person, every human, every infant, every elderly person, even pets need.
Honestly, we should have brought Kilo so Kilo can be a part of the Mind Edit today.
Why not?
But let's go ahead and get into the news. Mental Health Awareness Month. May is, very important. The country is going through a huge mental health crisis, especially Los Angeles, especially Hollywood. Um, there's actually a county in Iowa, I just read this morning, that is starting their own mental health court. It's going to be the first of the kind in their state. And I think that that's going to be something very interesting to watch. It's going to focus on people who are involuntarily admitted, but
Mm.
also track them and help them continue treatment, support them through their transition. I think it's going to be something good, is what I'm hoping. And then also right here in Los Angeles Board of Education and the Department of Health have joined together with some of the healthcare plans, and
Mhm.
they're now offering free mental health services to K through 12 students, which is something I'm really excited about. It's a company called Hazel Health. They're going to be doing telehealth for free for all of the students
Oh,
in the
that's
area.
that's really good. Going back to the court thing, is that also for people that don't feel like they should be committed and they're
Mhm.
saying and they're advocating for their freedom?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
wonderful.
I think it
Yeah.
is. I'm happy to see that they care enough to
Yeah.
focus a specific court on the mental health
Mhm.
because, involuntary admissions, I was going to share my story here a little bit. I went through some very tough times in law school. I had a
Mhm.
lot of doctors after the things that I went through. They wanted me to withdraw from law school
Mhm.
and they wanted me to go to the hospital because I couldn't find counseling on campus. I couldn't find a counselor that or a therapist that could help me and that would resonate with me in that time. And it was such a dark time. The only options that the people were giving me were admit yourself or
Mhm.
we're going to admit you, withdraw from law school because you clearly can't handle it right now.
Mhm.
And guess what I said? No, we're not doing that. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna go to school, and that's what I did.
Would you have
There's
used the court like that, you think?
if they would have forced me into admission and I would have lost possibly my career, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But Florida, where I'm from, it's a pretty different ball game down there. There's a lot of laws that are being enacted against the trans community, against the minorities. Even you're not allowed to record police anymore. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if that has actually gone into effect, but Florida is tremendously backtracking on mental health right now.
Mm.
But since we're in Hollywood, there are a lot of celebrities who are voicing their issues with mental health, and it's something that we haven't seen up until maybe the last 2 3 years. I think since the pandemic, it really got people talking about mental health and kind of brought it to the forefront. We have Kristen Bell. She just joined a platform called Hers as a mental health ambassador. Actor Da Vinci from All American just shifted his focus to focus on his mental health and advocate for therapy, which is beautiful. He's a young Black man in the community, and I don't think that there are enough advocates in Hollywood that are doing that. So it's really nice. He's an actor. He's on BMF as well, which I want to focus on a little bit later.
Ah.
But he wants to reduce the stigma on therapy, and I think that's really powerful for someone in that position to kind of talk about it. Because again, the culture versus mental health—that's what we're
Right.
here for today,
Yeah.
and the culture is really against mental health and therapy.
Well, if you're afraid of anything, it's only because you don't understand it. Yeah, and growing up, a lot of our parents, they weren't into therapy. I know my mom and my
Mm.
father were not excuse me, were not into therapy. My mother thinks that therapy is a negative thing.
Mhm.
And the minute you mention a psychologist or a therapist or even life coach, I mean, she's getting very, now she's coming around to the life coach, but it's almost like something's wrong with you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
immediately she just shuts down and it's a
Mhm.
negative thing, which actually did a very, it turned out to be a very crucial part in my life that her position on that actually separated me from her for
Wow.
about 6 to 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
I can agree, actually. My parents are very young. They're, I believe, 45. They're very
hmm
young. And it was only just recently, within the last year, that my dad acknowledged that mental health is a real thing. And our relationship went from almost non existent to I call him and say, "Hey, I love you. How's your day?" And that's something that I didn't think was possible, but he
hmm
acknowledged it. He realizes that it's real. He admitted, his faults maybe in my upbringing. And again, I never thought it was possible, but
but it is. And it happened. Yep. There you go.
I'm
All
happy.
things are possible.
Exactly, especially with the mind edit, and Imma keep talking about it because 'cause I'm
Yeah.
excited for everybody to learn. Also, Kathy Griffin, she just came out, and thanked all of her supporters for helping her through her mental health journey. She has extreme, extreme PTSD, and she has shared that with the world. Fox Sports' Jay Glazer wants to take the shame away from mental health and encourages everybody to lean into somebody. And then my most exciting thing about this month, May 11th, UTA United Talent Agency, they are hosting Hollywood Mind and Mental Health Summit. We have some super great guests that are going to be there, Charlemagne the God and Master P, which I just found out. Master P is a mental health ambassador for NAMI, the National Mental Health, the National Alliance on Mental Health, which I had no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's super exciting. Of course,
Mhm.
there's going to be plenty of mental health advisors,
Yeah.
but for these two prominent black men in entertainment, Charlemagne has had, an extensive podcast with the Breakfast Club.
Mhm.
He's had some backlash. Master P has had, backlash in his rap career, things going on with his family, him and Lil Romeo, one of
Mhm.
my early favorites in entertainment. But I think I'm super excited to see them in a summit about mental health. I think that's going to hold so much weight in the community and the culture. And I'm really excited about it. There are tickets online at UTA. Again, it's called the Hollywood Mind and Mental Health Summit. It's going to be on May 11th. I will be in attendance, and I really hope that everybody can tune in, whether it's in reviewing. Um, I think this is going to be very powerful.
Yeah. I used to work for Master P. I
Really?
did.
Oh
I
my
was
god!
his assistant when he had this foundation,
Uh-huh.
Let the Kids Grow.
Yep.
And it was about kids and also their health and their mental health. And just he was always about children and giving them the right information and the right platform for them to just thrive. And
Wow.
so,
That makes so much sense, and that's mostly what we're gonna be talking about today.
yeah,
'Cause I
exactly.
don't know if anybody knows, but Ashley Valenzuela is for the people, and when I say the people, I mean the children. That's the only reason I'm a lawyer. Taking it way back, I've always wanted to be a teacher. My daddy said, "Nope, you not gonna be broke on my watch." Still a passion of mine. I think I'm gonna end up being a teacher eventually, but I shifted my focus into child advocacy,
Mhm.
in the foster care system.
Mm,
And, there are hundreds of thousands of children that enter the foster care system every day. I actually took part of my journey in LA to work with the Children's Law Center, and it was very, very, very impactful. It's exactly what I signed up to be a lawyer for. But in my mental health journey, It's far too triggering and traumatic to have 180 kids on my roster, 10, 15 hearings a day.
Mhm.
So I'm always gonna come back to it. It's always gonna be my pro bono, but in my mental health journey, I need to heal myself first before I can continue to advocate for the children. But let's go ahead. Speaking of children, let's go ahead and get into the social media dilemma because
What's that dilemma?
the dilemma is schools are even suing big tech, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Meta, Twitter. Um,
On what
there,
grounds?
the suicide rates
Mm,
are out of control. Since about 2010, 2012, when
mhm,
Twitter and Meta kind of came to the forefront. It was Facebook and Twitter and Instagram
mhm,
at that point. There is a lot going on with social media portraying violence, desensitizing. George Floyd was murdered on the internet for everybody to see. Cancel culture is a thing.
mhm.
I know some people don't know what cancel culture is, but apparently it's made its way to the Webster's dictionary and dictionary.com. It is the practice of engaging in mass canceling. Canceling, we don't want to hear from this person anymore as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure. So in that end, we can think of Kyrie Irving. He posted a film that he hadn't watched, and they wanted to crucify him in front of the world uh, for not knowing what he posted. We have Chris Rock. Will Smith was being canceled
Mhm.
for his defense of his wife. We have another definition from dictionary.com. It's publicly rejecting, boycotting, or ending support for particular people. Um, Shared attitudes and values within a particular segment that leads to such public rejection of groups or people. Doja Cat was being canceled at one point. J.K. Rowling, the writer of Harry Potter, was being canceled at one point for posting transphobic comments, alleged transphobic comments.
Mhm.
Kanye West has been trying to be canceled for the last couple of years, and this goes, even down to a lower scale in high schools and in colleges. And, a lot of influencers are in their teens. These are some completely opposing viewpoints. We have an older conservative and a younger liberal. We could break it down into their viewpoints. Cancel culture is destroying a person's career reputation based on past events that person participated in, or statements, or their beliefs. And cancel culture is a synonym for political correctness. Words and phrases are taken out of context to bury the careers of people, a mob mentality. And that is essentially a mob mentality over the internet. Um, it's kind of just taken the world by storm on Instagram. At
Mhm.
least Instagram and Twitter, I think, are the main culprits. And then moving even from cancel culture, everything is online. We're seeing fights online. We're seeing deaths online. There are modern day lynchings in the 2020s that are online.
Mhm.
So, what is that doing to one, our culture as a whole,
Mhm.
but the kids? The kids are growing up on social media.
Yeah.
My baby sister is 8 years old, and all she does is scroll TikTok and YouTube shorts all day. Um, there's a study. Suicide rates in teens is out of control. Over the last 10 years, it's increased 30%. And there's also a social media victims law center, which I find to be alarming. There's a law center for victims of social media.
Mhm.
Among children and young adults 10 to 24, the suicide rate is 10 per 100,000. And suicide is the second leading cause of death among that age group. And I say age 10 to 24. My sister's 8. Um,
From my perspective, it's like I kind of feel like they're doing it backwards. So instead of looking at the external forces, it's more internal that has to be looked at, because then what has to happen? You need all of this to change so that your child or you can feel better about life.
Mhm.
So how's that going to work out? It doesn't work out well. Because if I need you to change so that I can feel better about me, then I need you to change, him to change, her to change. Everybody needs to change. So instead of looking at what everybody else is doing, we need to now start teaching our children and ourselves about what it is that we accept for us.
Mhm.
Because somebody else has a decision and they made a decision about their life, or they're saying anything out there that is different from what your perspective is, it's okay. But we're not teaching that. We want those people to change their views, change who they are, change how they're doing things so that I can be okay. Wrong, I think it's a flip flop, which to me, the mind edit, a flip flop is when we're taught something opposite and we believe it to be true.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's my viewpoint on it. It's all internal. If we teach our children and we teach ourselves that everyone is entitled to their opinion and the way they choose to live their lives, and it does not affect me unless I choose it to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unless I choose for it to affect me. That's powerful. Um, I think I agree with you. And I think that I think we have another article that states yes, this is exactly it. Um, Teens who report using social media more than 2 hours a day experience more poor mental health outcomes, including suicidal thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, Overuse of social media. How do you feel about that in children and teens and even college age? I think I was 17 when I started college, so I think this
Mhm.
applies from K through college. How do you feel about social media usage with everything that's on it? All of the
Mhm.
information, all of the videos. There's guns. There's rappers posting. John Morant, even the NBA player, was posting a gun. There's a lot of things that I think we shouldn't be seeing. And 2 hours a day seems small, but for a child, you're at school all these hours. How much free time do you have? 2 hours seems to be a lot of time to be spending on the phone or the tablet.
Well, how did they get the access to it? Do,
Parents
do,
don't
do,
have the
do, do, do,
time.
do, do,
Parents don't have
do,
the
do,
time to
do, do,
spend.
do, do.
I
Okay.
I think I
Parents, right.
yeah,
So,
parents for sure.
yeah,
It
so
is with
it's
the
all in your
parents.
household.
Mhm.
It all starts from at home. At home being within your own being first, and then your extended, which is your mother, your father, your caregiver. Then it's your teachers. That's the next one because kids go to school. So
That's why I
but
wanted to be a teacher.
yeah,
Teachers are the most important part of growing up.
yeah.
I feel like, a lawyer is great or whatever, if I don't do say myself, but if I
Do you
wanted
know I
to.
wanted to be a lawyer?
Really? I had no
Yes.
idea.
I sent you my bio late, but in the bio, it
Tell
said,
us your bio. What are we doing? We just know your name.
okay, I'm Kelly Robinson. I was born in Bermuda. And going back to what you said, I used to skip school when I was in high school, and I used to sneak into the courtroom. And I used to sit at the back to watch the attorneys litigate and the judge, but from the perspective of thoughts. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to see how this person approached this and how that person approached that, and how the outcome came out in relationship to how they argued the point. Like it was like a whole psychological
I don't
fascination for
so
me.
I don't know if that's the coolest skip school story or the lamest skip school story that I've heard because we're skipping school to go to court. That's kind of lit. I like
Yeah.
that. That
Y-
says a lot about you.
Yes, it
Um,
does. Hope
it,
all good things.
yes, only good things to say. But in addition to social media,
Yeah.
I think we also have to talk about streaming,
Mm.
um, television, streaming networks. I have been thinking about this for the last year.
Hmm.
We have an article here. This is a 2019 news article from the Washington Post. They're mentioning the lack of social responsibility that Netflix and other platforms have taken in promoting only violence, murder mysteries, cults, documentaries and series about battering women and killing everybody. Everybody went crazy for the Dahmer series,
Mhm.
and my roommate was in her bed having nightmares because we
Mm.
watched 2 episodes in a row before bed.
Mhm.
And, we have the show You, where this we're enthralled with this psychopath who
Mhm.
literally killed every single person on every single series. And
Well, not
um
every single person, Ashley.
okay, well maybe there's a couple of people that
That
made it
survived.
out. But you know me, I'm gonna do a little exaggeration, sprinkle sprinkle on top. But in addition to killing
Yeah.
everybody, we have BMF, Snowfall, Power, all of those shows. They're super great. Just like I was saying, Da Vinci did a great job, and Lil Meech did a great job. They're
Mhm.
wonderful shows. But this is all we have that we're watching. It's exhausting. I try to limit my TV to, before I go to bed and fall asleep to something. But here I'm concerned about the trajectory we're going on. They said this was in
Mhm.
2019.
Mhm.
All of these shows that I'm talking about, besides Power, it was there before. These are all shows that have come out since then, since the pandemic, since the mental health crisis, since everybody lost their jobs and therapy has picked up. This is what we're watching. I remember there was a time when I went on Netflix a couple of months ago and I couldn't find anything that wasn't about cults and true crime and murder.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to go to sleep to these things.
Really?
And I'm watching Snowfall, and all I hear is everybody's killing everybody. They're screaming, they're running. It's just um I can't.
Did you ever think to
I'm
just turn it
overwhelmed.
off?
And I do, and I
Good.
did.
Okay.
But what if I want to watch something? What do I got Abbott Elementary. Shout out to the queens.
Mhm.
That's great.
Mhm.
But do you know how long I have to scroll to find something that isn't about death and murder and abuse and screaming and negativity?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard. And the kids, yeah, we have Netflix Kids, but how often are they going on the Netflix Kids? They're just gonna go on whoever's account is at
But
the top.
but even cartoons now display those things
Yep.
too.
Yep. You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. It's hard to get away from, and I think that's part of the problem here in mental health. And I guess the next thing that I would want to touch on, since the reason I became a lawyer was for the kids, child stars. That's a tale as old as time. We have
Mhm.
we have Britney Spears, we have Macaulay Culkin, we have Amanda Bynes was just recently in the news last month. She was, running around outside. There were things going on. She had to be taken into the hospital. Demi Lovato, Lindsay Lohan, Miley Cyrus.
Mhm.
Um, that's one of the main reasons I kind of wanted to focus on entertainment law because I don't know if most people know, my sister is a professional dancer. Shout out Nina, the ballet B girl. She's also my nail tech. She is one of the main reasons why I started this entertainment industry because no matter if she was 18 or 19 or 7 when she entered the
Mhm.
entertainment industry, it's vultures. They wanna not pay you. They wanna take advantage of you. They want you to do extra things for these roles or do extra things that they weren't paid for, and 9 times out of 10, the child stars end up with significant mental health issues. We I love a momager. I'm gonna be the best momager in the world. I already was told that I was one, and I don't even have any kids. Shout out to Kris Jenner. She really did that. But they also don't know the law behind the industry. There are no preventative measures. There's no preventative contracts. We're just showing up to auditions and just, my kid's gonna be famous. Let's do it. But they're not stopping to think, hey, let's call a lawyer, which is where you call me. Um, how do we what can we do about this? What can we do about the epidemic of child stars and their mental health, the social media, the streaming, everything that we've discussed, and maybe some things that are on your mind that we haven't discussed. What do we
Mhm.
do about it? I know that you said that it was internal. So
It is
where do we start?
inside. I'm gonna give you the same answer every
With
time.
me. Start with me.
It's the same answer. Different circumstances, but the core is you. So we have to start teaching our children and ourselves, first ourselves and then our children, because you can't give what you don't have in this world.
Mm. Mm.
So a lot of times what we're doing is we're attempting to give whatever it is to whoever it is without first having it ourselves. And that's where you get depleted. You feel um, upset or frustrated.
Pouring
And
from an empty cup.
yeah, very much so. So we first have to understand these things for ourselves and how important and powerful we are as human beings. There's this law of attraction that is just like gravity. It's one of the most powerful universal laws that there is.
Mm.
Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter because it's still happening. You can not believe in gravity, but if you jump off a 20-foot building, you're going to fall. So the law of attraction
Whew.
is something that is universal and it happens to every single person. See, you're a lawyer. I was going to be a lawyer, but you are the lawyer. I'm living my life through you.
I love that.
um, there's two types of laws. So there is earthly laws that I call earthly laws, like the law of the planet. Like you have the courthouse. Now, when you go into a courthouse, it's not one set of rules for everyone. You could go in for the same crime but get two different judgments.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. Universal law is truth. It happens to everyone at any time, any time. So it's like the only real laws that we have are the ones of the universe. So yeah, it's once we understand that and we understand how that works, then you can just play the game. And
I don't like to play games, Calais.
but
I don't like to play
the
games.
game is fun. The game is healthy and fun because when you realize that your thoughts are things and that you're creating your world, then you can intentionally have a thought and then watch it show up. That's when life really becomes fun.
Manifestation.
Yeah, exactly.
Manifestation.
Yeah.
And so we've mentioned a lot about the mind edit. So is this a part of the mind edit, or where do we start on the mind edit process?
So the mind edit process starts from where does it start from? Wow, that's a great question because it can start from
Wherever you're at,
a
right?
exactly right. You start wherever you are, and it's all about putting truth on the table so that you can make decisions based on your truth instead of the lies you've been telling yourself.
Woo.
Because the lies you've been telling yourself is the reason for your suffering.
Hmm.
And so I know that suffering is the biggest addiction we have in the human race. But no
Wow.
one talks about it. Nobody even knows it's happening because it's so normalized. But it's not something that we're supposed to have as the human race. We're actually supposed to have more alignment in our days.
What is alignment for our viewers who maybe are new to this realm entirely?
Yeah.
What is alignment, and how can we find it if we don't have it or we're not in alignment?
Right. So alignment is getting what you want. So if you want something, and we all know we want things, and if you're getting it, you're in alignment. If you are not getting what you want, then you're out of alignment. And that's really as simple as it is. And how you get to alignment is you have to focus on how you feel. And you have to make you the most important thing that there is. You come before everything. You
Mm.
come before your children, your husband, your wife, your mother, your father. You are your most important asset. And what that does is it teaches the people around you, like your children, your husband, your mother, your father, your wife, how they can still be in alignment and become the most important thing in their world. Because if you give away yourself, even for like all our mothers out there and fathers out there that are depleting themselves by putting others in front of them and draining their own supply, you're teaching your children how to grow up and put others in front of them and how to drain their own supply. So you always want to put yourself first and
Mm.
teach your kids and teach, the people around you how to make yourself important because we are important. We're important to our lives because our whole life depends on how we see ourselves.
Um, One of the first things that I learned from you I
You know me,
learned.
girl.
You
You
don't
know
even
me.
know. But before I even met you, the first thing I learned from you was to only say what you want,
Speak what you want, not what you
don't want.
there you go. Yeah.
So in saying that, um, what do you mean? Like, because I want a lot of things.
Mhm.
You know a couple of the things that I want. So where's the line?
A thing.
Where's the
Okay.
line? Come
Person,
on,
place,
come
thing.
on. Person,
Place
places,
or
and
thing.
things. Where is the line between this is what I want, I'ma say it, I'ma say it, I'ma own it, I'ma own it, I'ma manifest, and delusion? Is there a line?
Well,
How do you you know what I mean?
that's a great question. Yeah. Um, I would say the delusion part will come or will be apparent if you have a idea that you're thinking about and you've had it over a period of time and it's just not happening.
Mm.
So that's when you can say to yourself, okay, you can do a self analyzation on you and say, okay, I've been wanting this, but it's not showing up, but I still want it. I'm still wanting it and it's not showing up. I'm still wanting it and it's not showing up. That right there would, would clearly certify
I need to put
anyone
some
as
lip
being
gloss on.
delusional. And and that's only because what's that saying they say? If you keep doing the same thing and you're getting the results that aren't changing, you're crazy. Something like that.
The
Something
definition of
gotta change.
insanity.
The
The
definition of
definition of
insanity. Thank you,
insanity.
Solomon.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Woo.
So yeah. So I was like, is that God?
Boo.
I thought that was God. Okay.
No, but definitely I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, do you in this mind editing process, where where do you stand on therapy?
Your lips just pop.
My lip gloss is
Oh my
popping.
God. Well,
Since
we're
the 5th grade, okay?
let me see. That's beautiful.
Lip gloss sponsors. We're looking for lip gloss sponsors.
So, what did you say about the third grade?
Oh no, my daddy bought me my first
Oh,
makeup
I'm
kit
sorry. I
in the
merged the
5th grade.
two.
No, but what do you feel about how do you feel about therapy?
Yeah.
I personally I think therapy is the best medicine. I think that it is important for people in our times
Mhm.
to have somebody that they can talk to unbiased. They know nothing about them, because I feel like if you're talking to all of your friends and you're talking to all of your family about the same things over and over again, you're getting different opinions from different people that are biased, and you sprinkle this information here, you sprinkle this information here, but you're not getting anywhere. There's no
Mhm.
goal.
Mhm.
There's no trajectory, there's no guidance. You're just blah
Right.
and seeing what sticks or what maybe somebody might have to say. So,
Mhm.
do you think in working on your mental health and your healing,
Mhm.
that therapy is an important part as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, I do. But you really have to be mindful of who the therapist is.
Mm.
The first therapist that you have is yourself, and how you determine on where to move and how to move and what to adjust is how you feel. So a lot of us are disconnected from how we feel. That's because when we were younger, our caregivers, our parents trained us away from that.
Mhm.
They trained us away from who we naturally and truly are. and putting ourselves first to putting them first. Because when we do something right, they applaud us, and when we do something wrong, they scold us.
Yep.
So immediately, as a child, you start learning, I need to please you.
It's not about us, right?
Yeah, it's not about me, it's about you. And that's why kids, they would quickly say no. Come here, no. And they would say whatever they say, and the parents would be angry because they feel like they're back talking or they're not listening instead of wanting to understand why are they saying no. Sometimes kids don't always have to play with other kids. They don't have to. We don't
Right.
play with every kid or every person out there in the world as adults. So kids are the same way, and parents want to force children into into something that they are not wanting to be
Without even asking
without even
why.
asking why. Exactly.
And I think I spent most of my high school and my college careers studying early childhood development and family dysfunction and you know, things like that. And I learned that the first 5 years of your life are essentially the most important. They determine the rest of your life. You know, you develop your core beliefs, what you're given and what you're not getting. Um,
You see, I disagree with that
Tell me more.
because what you're saying now and what you're teaching children and people is that after 5, you're
It's
fucked.
done. Well,
And that's not true. It's not true at all.
that's
At
the
a
negative mindset.
at any point, at any time, at any place, you can change your life. It's all through how you think. So that perspective is something that is once someone adopts that and they actually make that truth theirs and say something happened when they were 4
Mhm.
that knocked them out the game. They're going to be 40
But, "Oh,
lost.
can't do nothing about it.
Can't do
I'm
nothing about
ruined.
it.
It's over."
Exactly. And that
Hmm.
and that perspective and that core belief system is what the mind ed is it is about exposing. Because that belief system of it something happened then that has impacted me forever is is not what I subscribe to.
So you believe we can move past everything,
Mhm.
anything,
Any and everything.
just by the way that we think about things.
Absolutely.
So, I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then I wanna talk to you about meditation.
Ooh,
Um,
favorite subject.
how obviously, we're all going to have negative thoughts.
Uh-huh.
We have what, hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day. What do we do with the negative thoughts? Because whenever they
Oh.
build up, that's when we find ourselves in the bed and depressed.
Mhm.
How do we get them out?
So your first question is what do you do with them? You befriend them.
Mm.
You have to have a great relationship with your contrast. So contrast is the negative thoughts, the things you get that you don't want. All the things that are happening to you that you want to change. That's your contrast. You have to befriend it. It's a part of the journey. All contrast is think of it like a flashlight. It just points the way to where you want to go. If I don't want this, what do I want? You turn 180 degrees in the opposite direction. I want that. It's really that simple. It's just options, variety, and choice. That's all contrast gives you. So now going to your second question, all the negative thoughts. So the goal is 90-10. We came here to this planet for 2 reasons, to create and to have fun. That's why we're here as human beings. And our whole purpose of coming here is to spend 90% of our day in alignment and only 10% of our day in contrast so that we can expand and we can discover and become more because that's what contrast does. It helps you with your expansion. If we all were yellow, we all ate pizza, or we all listened to
Yeah.
I was searching.
Okay.
What type of world would this be? It would
No,
be no
nothing different.
world at
Nothing
all.
different.
So the f-
And something that just brought up for me, if everything was always good, if there was always sunshine, if there was always rainbows, if everything was always perfect, how would you even know how to appreciate or how to enjoy the good if you don't
Exactly.
even know what bad is.
Right. If you touch a hot stove, how do you know you want it to be cool? Because you touched it. You
Mm.
immediately know, I want that stove cool. So that's contrast. Once I understood that, I was like, whoa, because I was never taught this. I was always taught to fear contrast. I
Yeah.
was always taught that it was the end of the world. My life was over. Oh my God.
Mhm.
But once you flip that switch in your mind to see the truth of what it is, then your whole life changes. But going back to what I was saying is that so that 90-10 rule, so we come here and so 90% of our day we want to live in alignment and only 10% of our day in contrast, but we have flipped it. The average human being lives 90% of their day in contrast and only 10% of their day in alignment.
Yeah.
So now you know that you just have to look at your day and you just have to start shifting the percentages. I remember when I started doing it. And I was like, "Ooh, I today I was instead of 10% of alignment, 30." And I
Mhm.
remember when I got to 50-50. So I was like, "Okay, half my day is in contrast, half my day is in alignment." And then I just like
And that's a
slowly
big
move it.
difference.
It's
That's
huge.
a big difference.
Yeah, and then you slowly move it up to 90% of your day in alignment. That's the goal, and only 10% of your day in contrast. And that's it. So to answer your question, contrast is essential for us. You want it.
So do you think that meditation is a good tool to kind of focus or learn these things or put them
Mhm.
into action?
Yeah. So when you're out of alignment, the most there are three powerful ways to get back in alignment. The first and the most powerful way is our rampage of
Oh, I
appreciation,
love rampage of
which
appreciation.
we did this morning.
We did, and I felt so good after
Didn't you?
it. I felt so good after it, and for just a real quick snippet, essentially for a set amount of time, you just pop off about everything you love and everything you appreciate in that moment. And I've done it a couple of times, and it
Mhm.
has always, always, always. I've left with a smile and a
Mhm.
new outlook on
That's
that
right.
moment in that day.
Mhm.
So I really do appreciate that one. I can attest to it.
Yeah, because it's the momentum. If you hold a thought for 17 seconds or more, it attaches another thought just like that thought to it.
Oh wow.
So, whether it's negative or positive. And then if you hold it for 68 seconds, it's like trying to stop a car at the bottom of the hill. It just plows you over,
Wow.
especially if it's negative.
Yeah.
So, it's power in that. That's why rampages of appreciation is so important. And you can start off feeling like negatively, you know, their thoughts are negative, or you can have like a blah moment and then you do a rampage and you feel good
Mhm.
because it 17 seconds, 68 seconds, that building process starts happening.
Wow.
And so that's why it happens. So that's the first most powerful way. The second one is meditation
Mhm.
because when you cease thought in meditation, the chatter in your mind
How do you turn
quiets.
it off? She don't never stop.
I know we're still practicing with that, aren't we?
Ooh, how do we do it?
Yeah, so you just keep doing it, you keep practicing because practice makes perfect. You have to build the muscle. You've had many, many, many years of the chatter and the confusion and what is it you call it the distractions
Mhm.
because that's all the chatter is, it's distractions
Right.
in your mind. When you sleep at night and wake up in the morning, that's the best time to reach for a positive thought. That's how you change your life.
Oh.
The reason why people have cycles and things last for 10, 20, 30 years is because in the morning when they go to sleep, I mean, sorry, in the night when they go to sleep and they wake up in the morning, they carry their thoughts from their yesterday into their
Mhm.
today. And if you do
Mhm.
that over a period of time, and especially if it's negative, you'll wake up depressed.
Now you're stuck in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's just about the carrying of thoughts. You wake up the next morning and then you
Should be
know,
like a reset button.
every day you have a reset button
Wow.
every day, and it's the easiest time to do it in the day is in the morning after you've quiet your thoughts at night, went to sleep, and then woke up. That's the best time to do it. But going back to what I was saying, so meditation, that's a form of it in a way because you quiet your thoughts, but you're awake. And then when you come out of meditation, you feel your power, you feel your connection because meditation is connecting to your inner being, your guidance.
Your higher self,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Where all your answers lie, where all the truth is. And so, and the third method is just take a nap.
I love it. That's
If
my favorite part.
if all else fails, you just take a nap.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense because listen, when I was in high school, I started my senior year, I started working full part-time job. I was on the sports teams. I was going to school all day. I had absolutely no time to myself, but every damn day I made sure I took a nap as soon as I got home and
Yep.
then I could continue to go and that's the first time I ever got straight A's. So I was fully busy
Mhm.
and I would take a nap every day.
Mhm.
So I like that.
Yeah.
I need to start
Yeah.
doing that more,
Yeah,
actually.
a nap, I literally have to force my not force, but, encourage my friends to take a nap
Mm.
because, we go, 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 but we think we're
Yeah.
gonna miss out on something, and we don't realize that you take that 20-minute nap, you just set a timer for 20, 30, 40 minutes, and you wake up, you get much more accomplished than trying to, like, sludge through it
Yeah, I feel
and
like it's kind of
push
like
through it.
a mini sleep through the night and wake
Mhm.
up and reset. You can have a shorter a little nap reset,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think, we've learned some really great things today. There is I would say that this is probably the most important episode of my podcast and this is the first one out the gate.
Yay, yay.
But no, seriously, like thank you so much for joining me. I
You're
thought you would be
welcome.
the absolute perfect person to
Mhm.
have on this culture versus mental health journey at the Royalty Room. Again, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I do want to also offer the resources that I could find. Please, please, please never feel like you are alone, whether it's friends, whether it's family. There are a number of resources you can text, the lifelines, the crisis text lines. You can call and talk to certain people. And you can also, of course, practice the three tips that we learned today from Calais: rampage of appreciation, meditation, and a beautiful, beautiful nap. So
Yes.
thank you for joining us on the Royalty Room. And again, take care of your mental health. It is
Mhm.
so imperative. Self care. I think the most important part about self care is mental health because
Mhm.
if your mental is not right, how can you care for anything else about yourself?
Mm-mm.
Right?
No, right. They tell you who to put the mask on the airplane first.
Oh, that is true. And I
Who?
always wondered,
Yeah,
you got to situate yourself first
that's
before you
right.
can help anybody else. And that has been my longest life struggle, but I'm learning.
And,
Thanks to
and you're
you.
learning well.
Thank
You're,
you.
you're doing you're doing good.
Thank you guys.
I just had to do it.
You have to, it's just,
You need
get
to
that.
have every single guest do the That's gonna be your thing.
It is. It is my thing. Anybody who knows me, Legal Queen LA, we're gonna get a little off on our adventures. But thank you again, Legal Queen LA. This is the Royalty Room. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe at Legal Queen LA on all platforms. That's how you find the YouTube. That's how you
Mhm.
find the Instagram. And
I am Calais on Instagram.
and we will be back every single Monday, I take that back, every other
Mhm.
Monday, May 1st. And then 2 Mondays from now, we're going to have episode 2. And I know you don't want to miss it. Let us know what you want to hear about, and we'll see you next time.